Hey everybody. Um, I just wanted to make a quick video because every once in a while you see people on the internet or whatever claiming that they got a bad deal on eBay or they got scammed, and I haven't seen a lot of other videos like this, but I saw this eBay listing and I thought it was hilarious. Um, and I want to show everybody that if you get orchids that are bad from eBay, you know, I'm not excusing the scammers or the bad sellers, but usually it's a self-inflicted wound. And if it sounds too good to be true, I would pretty much always say that it is too good to be true. And um, just because some random vendor has a rare orchid and you really want it, uh, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble, wasted time, wasted money, if you just wait for the plant to come from a quality orchid vendor. And I promise you, uh, the getting an orchid that you want right away will never be as good as hunting and searching and finding a good quality orchid, whether it's at an orchid show or online. But let me just show you kind of a few things that you should look at to tell if an orchid a, is not going to be good or it's misleading or whatever. I'm kind of looking at an infamous eBay seller, and that's like the first thing that you probably should do is like you can go to an orchid form. It's, for example, orchid board, and I searched for this eBay user's uh, name. Oh wow, beware, buying orchids from eBay. I bet that's not good. This guy on eBay, purchase with caution. eBay seller in Florida, word of caution. So you should know pretty much right off the bat that a good eBay seller will have good reviews and feedback online, and it's just a Google search away. Second one, uh, you know, look at the plant health. At first glance, like when you look at these plants, you're like, yeah, it's pretty healthy. Um, so this orchid doesn't, raise any red flags to me health-wise. Looks like it's got two nice new growths growing. The pseudobulbs are plump. The leaves don't have any shriveling. Those are all uh, quality checks that you can look at the image. But you know, um, when you come over here, though, look at the tag that this orchid supposedly is. Uh, I don't know if it's easy for you guys to see, but the tag clearly visible says Cattleya schroederi 4N by Cattleya schroederi dark something. Okay, so it's a sibling cross or a cross of Cattleya schroederi. Oh, but what's that? It's being advertised on eBay as Cattleya leopoldii 4N by Dowiana aria 4N. Okay, so that's why I picked this eBay listing, because it's so hilariously bad, and you should never ever purchase anything from this eBay vendor. But I feel like not a lot of people just do a few bits of due diligence and they easily get scammed. Um, and I just wanted to highlight this because it's a hilarious example. So yeah, you should never buy this orchid. It has a wrong tag in it. compared to the listing. The name of the orchid vendor has a number of negative reviews. Look at that red angry face. So that you should have stopped right there, and do not go forward. And I want to tell you, one of the insidious things about eBay reviews is, and just like I think any reviews online these days, they've just become devalued. So you look at this eBay seller and you'd say 98.7. That's pretty good. The problem is if you get an orchid that blooms out incorrectly or is the wrong orchid, it takes some time. And the way feedback works is that there's a limit on when you can give a feedback or review, and you can't change your feedback. So this person can take advantage of the fact that you won't know that you've been scammed or ever been scammed for a long time. And out of the last 12 months, he's made 1,300 transactions and only had 14 bad reviews. But I think this is just a good practice in general. It's like, always look at the bad reviews. I'm not saying that they should dissuade you, but they might have clues about just how the seller overall is, because like I said, reviews have just become so inflated on the internet. But yeah, you can see that even in the past year, there's some concerning qualities from this vendor. I'm going to open up another tab and go through some other bad ones. So like, you should never buy an orchid that looks like this. It looks like it's potted in peat moss. And the biggest thing you can use to avoid scams and bad orchids on eBay is just look at the picture. Don't convince yourself that you'll somehow be able to rehabilitate a rare species, because a lot of times getting a crappy or injured orchid, the shipping causes stress, the transition to your environment causes stress, and you're just setting yourself up worse than if you had just waited for a higher quality plant and had a little bit of patience. But this is just terrible. I think these do look like dendrobiums. Like, they're not lying about the species, but potting things in peat moss and perlite, come on. Now here's an example of a good looking orchid, Cattleya labiata. Now it's hard to tell between labiate Cattleyas as a seedling, the difference between them, but this is a confirmed good quality orchid vendor. They are associated or are the orchid nursery Ulampali orchids, so they're a reputable breeder. And you can see, this would be a good plant. The bulbs look pretty good. It's got a healthy new growth. Just using a few observational skills, and you can filter out a lot of bad orchids. Let's see. Here's another one that I'm looking at that I don't understand. You see $62, 12 bids for a kind of a beat up orchid, honestly. I know Dowianas are pretty rare, but they do come onto the market quite a bit. And I just think this orchid just doesn't look that good. It doesn't look like it's dying. It's got a few root tips growing, but if this is something that you really want, I would pass on this. I haven't ever purchased from this orchid vendor, and I'm not trying to tarnish them. I'm just trying to use this as an example of this orchid doesn't look to be it doesn't look like it's dying, but it's not the healthiest orchid I've ever seen. Um, and if you're new to growing orchids or you don't have perfect conditions, this would be a candidate for an orchid that, you know, doesn't have a lot of wiggle room if it gets stressed. So I would avoid this, but I'm not saying that you know, your own personal circumstances would dictate whether or not you should pick this orchid up. I just think it's overpriced, but that's just my opinion. Here's an example of a good looking listing. Look at how sprightly and healthy the leaves are. The bulbs aren't too shriveled. It's got healthy white roots. Yeah, they're broken off, but a lot of big nurseries, when they have all the plants crammed in, you know, the roots get, and they move them around, the roots get banged up. But look, here's another shot. Really, really healthy looking roots. So this is just like a short video because I see people get upset because they buy diseased or bad looking orchids, and you know, you shouldn't, like I said, I don't want to victim blame here, but a lot of the heartbreak of getting bad orchids and getting scammed on eBay can literally be identified right off the bat. Another one, let's just look at general Cattleya. Another one that can be kind of dangerous is trying to spot is stock photos. And again, I don't know if this orchid is orchid seller is bad. I actually think they're a pretty good one. These plants look pretty healthy. But stock photos can be misleading, you know, especially for line-bred species. You have no idea how good the shape or color of these are. So don't just think that just because there's one good example in a stock photo that the seedlings are going to bloom out exactly like that. Yeah, and here's another good example of a, well, I think it has a stock photo. I would just look at the plant picture and see that the plant itself is looking very healthy, plump bulbs, the media doesn't look completely decomposed. So I just wanted to show, you know, some examples of a really bad orchid vendor and some better orchid vendors. I'm just trying to see if there's other, yeah. So here's another, this orchid photo is lifted from a pretty well-known orchid hobbyist's Flickr or photo hosting website, and so I don't agree with that. I don't think eBay sellers should use other people's copyrighted material, but they do, and it should just put you on a little alert. It doesn't mean that the plants are bad, but it does. It can be concerning, so that's just another thing to look out for. But the biggest thing is to Google the vendor to see if there's anything bad that pops out, like on a website or a forum or Facebook. The next biggest thing is to look to see if the tag is visible in the photo. That one's the biggest thing. There's other cool things you can do with looking at the tags, like you can learn the name of other, orchid wholesalers and what tags they use, and you can then go purchase them directly from the source. So I really recommend using some digital sleuthing to figure out the tags if they have them visible in the eBay photos. And the other thing is health. Health speaks for itself, and if you're growing orchids, you should know a little bit about plant body language, what healthy leaves look like, what healthy roots look like. If you don't, then you shouldn't be buying orchids on eBay. And again, I'm not making this video to scare people away from eBay. There's some really good vendors on eBay, but there's also some really bad ones. And you know, it's just one of those things. You got to use your noggin. You can't always trust the reviews, and just do a little research, especially before you go and spend, God, how this is probably going to go up over $100, and that's insane. Um, so before you spend over $100 on a tiny seedling, you need to really be confident that you're getting a healthy plant from a quality vendor. So anyway, I just thought I'd make a quick video on this, mostly because of this jerk. I don't want to dox them, but they have uh, they've left a trail of terrible orchid purchases in their path, and I mean, it's just surprising that they're still going. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good Sunday, and hopefully you are all healthy, safe, and happy.